When it comes to building Gunpla, the most important part is the kit itself. But without a doubt, the second most important part are the tools. But when it comes to tools, it can be a little overwhelming when there's nippers, sanding sticks, sanding sponges. There's just so many options that you have to choose from, which is why I go with this one option because it makes it so much easier. And that's why I always tell people to choose the DSPIAE Departure Tool Set because it makes everything easy and all in one. Okay, so what actually is in this tool set? Well, let's just get right into it. Here, the lovely Sean actually brought in his tool set. This is where I got the idea to do it because this is what he has been using outside in the warehouse on like his lunch breaks and everything like that to build kits. So let's just get right into it. So the first item that we have are nippers. Now these are single blade nippers, but they aren't akin to the classic 3.0s that a lot of us modelers use if we use DSPIAE nippers. These are more akin to an entry grade. But what I can say is these are much better than the Bandai entry grade that we have. I started out on the Bandai ones, and when I compare these to those, these have a much cleaner cut and much better feel in the hands. But if you do have a pair of 3.0s, these aren't gonna feel as good, as clean, as buttery, but they do get the job done. Next up is the model parts detacher. So just like the name says, this is used to detach parts. I've talked before about the Bandai part separator and how much I love it. This thing is kind of like the step up as it is actually mechanical, as you can just pop it out like that. It's made of metal instead of plastic like the Bandai part separator, which is always nice because you know it's not gonna break. The only thing I will say is you can file down the Bandai part separator. Can't exactly do this with this as it is metal, but this is a perfect alternative. Next up is the hobby knife as well as replacement knives. This is a fantastic tool. I've used it for a while now, and the thing that I really use it for is cutting out decals. Some people actually use this to remove nubs if they don't want to get too close with their nippers, but it's a really high quality blade that's not gonna wear down easily, but even if it does, you do have a whole bunch of replacement knives that come with it. And the last piece is something that I haven't used until this video, and that is this panel liner. It's metal, so essentially you dip it in something like a Tamiya panel liner, you take it out and you can actually panel line with it. It's almost like a feather or a quill that you see in those old-timey movies, but it's really cool, super smooth, and it actually makes it so it's really delicate, so you can get into those small grooves and panel lines that otherwise would be a pain to get into with the little brush that they include with a lot of those panel liners. Next up, we have these, and you're probably wondering, what are those? Well, what they actually are these little foldable scissors. So you just fold them out, and just like that, you can snip away. Not something I use a ton in the modeling world, but I know for cutting decals in half, cutting down boxes, I bet that you can find a ton of uses for them. They're super small. Like I said, they just fold right back up. Super easy, super smart, cool design, something that you might need in the future. We then move on to the next item, which is the Siren Superfine Glass File. Now, I am a huge fan of glass files. I have been using one for probably about 6 months now, and I don't think I could ever go back to just sandpaper or sanding sponges. It's absolutely fantastic. This one has some cool DSPIAE insignias on it, the MSF13. It is a reflective mirror on the back, and then you've got that reusable glass file on the front. It is said to be used for polishing, which is nice. Essentially, it'll get it back to that regular plastic shine after you've sanded down the rest of the part, which is always a nice finish to have because I hate having it look like it's been sanded. As you can see with this piece, it makes it look absolutely beautiful. You can barely tell it's even been sanded, look at that. But obviously to go with that is some different sanding sponges and sand grits. Here we have a 1200, an 800, and a 400. So a nice array of sanding sponges and grits for you to use. They also have some sanding sticks in the semi-rigid form in the same 1200, 800, and 400 grit, as well as some reusables as well. So they give you 2 of these carbon fiber sticks that you can stick these reusable ones on from 1500, 1200, 1000, 800, and 400. And you can stick those right on to the carbon fibers, and so you can use those. And once you're done with them, take them off, throw them away, and then you can just buy more of the DSPIAE reusable ones. And last but not least, we have 2 different tweezer options. We have the straight fine point as well as an angled tweezer. I am obsessed with tweezers personally when I'm building. I use them for everything. So to have two different options, both a straight and an angled point for anything like applying decals, pressing pieces into their correct places is something that I use them for way too often. These are going to be perfect for you. Just do be careful because they are pretty pointy on the ends, so you can poke yourself with them, or if you're doing painted builds, you can scrape some of the paint off. That's the only thing that I say because I've done it many a time. This is the perfect tool combo set for anyone who's just getting into the hobby, as it includes every tool that any beginner would ever want. It's also great for the people who have been building for a while but really want to step up their game when it comes to their clean builds. I know that there are a lot of builders out there who have built stuff just straight out of the box and put it on a shelf, and maybe it's time to pick up something like this so you can take your builds to the next level. Whether it's with help applying decals, panel liners, making sure your sanding is perfect, anything like that, this is the perfect option for you. Let us know down in the comments what tool you think they should have added to this tool set, and maybe they'll add it in the future. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I sure enjoyed making it for you guys, and I will see you in the next one.